tonight. In Illuvium, you were mine. Ranger and Illuvial, side by side. I signed your name for the fight. Chased that cash prize in the night. You shook your head, you would not go. I said just once and made it so. Now that arena owns the scene, and I can't scrub it from my screen. You trusted me with your light, I turn it into a knife. Now every step I take feels like a vow I break. I lost my partner, I lost my partner. No prize in my hand, just blood on the sand. I lost my partner, I lost my partner. I called you to war, and now you're here no more. They dragged you in, you fought for me, even when your eyes said please. Then the match went cold and cruel, and I watched you pay my rule. No winnings came, no coins, no cheer, just an empty room and shame right here. Your color's gone, your voice is still stuck in the wreckage I can't heal. You trusted me with your light, I turn it into a knife. Now every step I take feels like a vow I break. I lost my partner, I lost my partner. No prize in my hand, just blood on the sand. I lost my partner, I lost my partner. I called you to war, and now you're here no more. If I could stray that night, I would burn my name tonight. Let the whole arena know I was wrong to let you go. Split apart in half. In Illuvium, I learned your name. Rangers and Illuvials, one flame. You walk beside me, side by side. Not a pet, not a prize to ride. I saw the banner, heard the crowd. I wanted coins, I wanted loud. You pulled away, you knew the cost. I said go on, and something crossed. You shook your head, you stepped so slow. I should have said no, don't go. I put the fear behind my teeth and called it hunger, called it need. I broke our bond for coins, I let my hands turn cold. You were my partner, now you're gone from me. I broke our bond for coins and got a silence back no price can buy. should have held you, let it end. Instead I lost my truest friend. I broke our bond for coins, I let my hands turn cold. You were my partner, now you're gone from me. I broke our bond for coins and got a silence back. No price can buy what I threw away. If I could kneel where you fell down, I'd trade my name for yours right now. I know now I was out of line. I'd tear the green right off my spine. No winner, just this wound. No future, just this room. And every step I take alone, I broke our bond for coins. I let my hands turn cold. You were my partner, now you're gone from me. I broke our bond for coins and got a silence back. No price can buy what I threw away. My dear Illuvial, forgive my hands. I lost you chasing a promised land. Now all I have is your name and the shame and the pain.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream, day 2 of our first time firing away at 5 streams a week. And today we're going to be topping into Illuvium Deathmatch. Of course, we haven't had the opportunity to truly get into Illuvium Deathmatch since essentially week number 1. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things here with Deathmatch in just a couple of moments. Plenty of changes have happened since the first initial week of Illuvium Deathmatch, and if anything, that's probably the biggest critic that I do see online, is that the game changes so much that a lot of people are having a hard time keeping up with it, to the point where even I had to reach out directly to Neil, who is the lead developer, I believe, here for Deathmatch. As I was saying, like, hey, there's no like patch notes or anything along those lines. Can you catch me up a little bit as to what's been going on with Deathmatch as a whole? And thankfully, Neil did kind of break it down for me just ever so slightly in regards to what's going on here. But basically, of course, the main change was the graveyard, because now the Illuvials that you kill go into a collection, which then can determine your some rewards that you do end up getting from Deathmatch itself. I can kind of show it off right here right now, the graveyard collection, this here on my main account here. But you'll see, like, I've killed off a lesser air Valente, I've carried off a greater, need to lose a exalted air Valente to kind of complete that collection. And you can go on through, and then there's a leaderboard that's attached to this graveyard system. But from what I understand, it's been an absolute headache in regards to getting the rewards to show up properly. And then a lot of people had, like, you may have heard me talk about it a little bit on This Week in Illuvium a couple weeks ago, where there was some issues with the leaderboards where right at the very last second, the hollow bonuses and dark hollow bonuses went from being like 1,000 times to 2,000 times, or reverse that. It went smaller. So a lot of people had spent a bunch of money to try and get their collections to kill off these hollow Illuvials. Well, they since have done refunds and reimbursements for those players. So I'm very thankful to hear that in this instance where they did end up moving the goalposts, they at least did compensate the players for that error. And in regards to the graveyard, that is the main thing that is the biggest update. But they also, of course, have a difference in regards to the entry fee for standard and advanced mode. If I take a look at it right here, right now, if I were to pop in, say, one of my Illuvials into the standard mode. Before, this cost a flat 100 skulls no matter what, and you'd be able to, which of course comes up to $1. So for standard mode, for instance, you would put $1 in, and then at best you essentially double your money and then some. It used to be about like $2.60 if I recall correctly, but now this is a little bit more flexible. So like say someone like myself who's in a very odd spot, couldn't play for a while, I only had the 75 skulls on me. Well, now I can actually play standard mode again for at least a couple times, and we will do that at some point here today. Try and see if we can use a underpowered Illuvial to try and maybe make an upset here. Because at the end of the day, while you can give yourself some edge in regards to the more power that you throw in, like the better your chances, it does not guarantee anything. And for standard mode, I believe 50 power is the max, and oddly enough, I have this Relentless Lynx here that is going to be able to potentially take part in the battle, but it would actually require essentially all of my skulls here to actually make that happen. Because we see in regards to power, the more power you get, the more expensive it is to actually get into the game. But to compensate for all this, one thing that they did do is actually change how the payouts end up happening. So if you do end up getting a hard lobby, for example, where you get these Illuvials, these players putting in Illuvials that are like pretty high power for standard mode, then the pricing will reflect that. But if you recall what I was saying before, where it used to be 100 skulls entry and you'd be getting about 200 skulls back or so, 260 skulls, so about $2.60 back. But you can see these are dramatically lower payouts here in regards to standard mode. However, do keep in mind, of course, the jackpot is still very much so a potential thing that could end up happening. We'll go over a couple of the jackpot winners. Of course, we can actually see exactly who scored them here, so in that sense it's spoiled, but I still want to cast the match and see how it's going. Speaking of how it's going, Texan Hype, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And then before I do even get into the actual gameplay itself, I do also want to reach out in regards to, or talk about one of the things that was just kind of brought out to my attention here. Because with Deathmatch and Arena, of course, it's always been kind of back and forth. I know I've been very frustrated at the existence of Deathmatch because it took resources away from Arena. And with Deathmatch as a whole, it's been very, like, fast development, but lots of changes. It feels like very frantic changes. And I'm curious if what I just heard has anything to do with it, because unfortunately I did just learn today that Nil, the lead developer here for Deathmatch, as well as the I think one of the leads, if not the lead for Arena, got laid off. They're actually not technically a part of Arena, I think, anymore. And then in regards to Deathmatch, they're still working on this, but it's for free. So if anything, please take it easy on Nil in the Discord conversations, because I know we might be frustrated with the state of the game, but at the same time, I don't think they are like necessarily like hired anymore, so based off of a conversation I had with Nil. So I'm very sad to hear that. As much as Nil was probably the developer that like I was most interactive with in regards to, say, Arena and balancing and like frustration in regards to the auto drones or anything along those lines, at the end of the day, I'd never want to see anybody lose their job. So I'm extremely sad here for Nil, and I hope that like Deathmatch can continue to flourish while they're working on it. Hopefully they can get a little bit of some sort of kickback and compensation for it as well. And just keep pushing, because at the end of the day, Nil is a big part of what this universe is in regards to Arena, Deathmatch, and anything that they could have worked on, which again, I've fallen in love with this universe, and they're a big part of it. So thank you, Nil, and please keep pushing. Regardless of what you're doing, keep pushing. Hector, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Now let's get into the swing of things here. I'm going to very quickly hop on over and take a look at some of the jackpots. Has he moved to other parts like Obelisk? I do not think so. That was that did not come up in conversation. So I can't confirm nor deny, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll hop on over into some jackpots in just a second. I want to take a look at least of the ones over, say, the last 2 weeks or so, because there was an interesting spot here, actually, where the jackpot went unclaimed for a good amount of time. It went, like, 10 days without being claimed, so it actually got up to a pretty significant amount of skulls, amount of money, and someone was able to win this one up. So I'm going to take a look at first one just from about 2 weeks ago, which oddly enough, somebody here in the chat might kind of fancy here. Let's take a look at this first matchup from the last couple of weeks. So this battle here, you can see, is an absolute monstrosity. Tier 5s all over the place, and it is going to be scary. Heck, even the Vermilier and the Blasonate of the corner are very scary as well. Starting things off on the right-hand side, we see that Phosphorus just absolutely plugging away onto that Scarabok. I doubt that Scarabok's going to be long for this world. But with these being so many powerful Illuvials, you can see it's genuinely taking a long time for these Illuvials to actually even go down. So far, it's looking like the Adori is down at the very bottom below the scoreboard, as well as this Aphisto. There goes the Aphisto. Going to end up scoring the first blood. That's going to be Fury's Aphisto, actually taking care of that one. The Scarabok there from Struda finally going to end up going down. The Blasonite going to be potentially short to follow. No, we're actually going to see Nils Skoriox fall here alongside Sir Dexter's Blasonite. So now, in the middle, this Aphisto's in a great position, but that Phosphorus did get some healing right off that kill. One more heal, can it somehow burst down this Aphisto? That's going to be a very tough one. Not going to end up happening, so now it's just down to Fury's Aphisto alongside Hector's Phosphorus. And with the Phosphorus directly in the face of an Aphisto, I think we've seen enough Illuvium Arena to know that when this kind of scenario happens, it's usually not very good for the Aphisto. So it's just a matter of time. Sure enough, Hector from Mad Dogs is the winner here. Gonna get a jackpot from about 2 weeks ago. That is actually fantastic there, which of course then also is 26% of the current pot, how I was saying before in regards to the entry fees being a little bit modified. So that fight right there actually ends up being a $72 win here for Hector and their Phosphorus, killing 4 of them to get the win this time by. In terms of permadeath, this didn't actually end up being too bloody of a battle, but we did lose 2 actually. So 07's here in the chat for Strudel. Their Scarabok does die, but then this one right here for Gat actually breaks my heart. That's going to be an Adorius permanently killed off here. And not a bad one by any means. I know this one in particular probably would have been better than the one they actually own. If I can get this back on screen here, a 62 TPI, Adorius does end up getting killed. So very, very brutal stuff, but congratulations there to Hector. I know this was a little while ago, but still, congrats on your jackpot win. We'll go over a couple more here as well. Let's see who ended up getting some big wins. Then, of course, right after that one, that was one from Hector about 2 weeks ago. Then about another 3 days later with the jackpot, a little bit smaller, of course, compared to the last one. But we did end up finding another jackpot winner. Let's load this replay up and see what we've got cooking here. Has Standard just turned into a spot where everybody's dumping their Bing guns? Because this is actually kind of crazy. I would expect to see this in advance, but I guess that's not the case whatsoever. I'm used to seeing maybe something like a Lynx here that we see here from Canon, but no, not gonna be the case at all. Look at this absolute cluster that's in the left-hand side with so much AoE across the board here. There's gonna be a ton of damage dished out extremely quickly, and Umbra goes down. The Adorius, the Mammoth, and the Aphisto all having an absolute fantastic time here. The Adorius gonna end up falling. The Mammoth ends up clutching that one out. Down towards the bottom, down on the bottom right-hand side, kind of right by my head, actually, there's this Titanor that gets killed off by a Duelef. Deathmatch Daddy gonna get the kill there. How long can that Duelef stay alive, I wonder? The Mammoth up top does go down to the Aphisto. Jump Aphisto coming in the third party. Get the jump here onto this Lynx. This Lynx was doing so well until the Aphisto came around. Now this could be problematic unless the Dual F can maybe get the kill shot. This is going to make it at least close, but the next Omega is going to come out here from the Aphisto. Down here on the bottom side, yeah, that chunk, that stun, that'll do it. And of course, that one did come through with a jackpot win as well. That's going to be 4,700 skulls that go on over here to Jub. How about the permadeaths? What did we lose here on this battlefield? We do see the Relentless Emberlings definitely punched heavily above their weight class here in a field full of tier 4s and 5 fully evolved. The fact this Lynx has gotten as high as it did is already fantastic in its own right, but it does end up getting killed off. So, Inspectival is going to end up losing that Relentless Lynx there. Next couple of casualties are down towards the bottom, though. Sergio, I don't know what it is about Adorius is, but that's going to be yet another Adorius that does get killed off here. Then we do have an Adorito going to fall alongside, I believe this is Monsters, Mamu. So big old Mammoth going to be killed off here as well. That one was a 47 TPI one, so a little bit low on the TPI side, but still, every loss hurts here. I believe there is still one more potential jackpot that we can take a look at, because of course that one was 11 days ago, and the next one that would have come through only happened a couple hours ago. So this thing built up big time here over the last little bit. Ruben, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Hello, what is this game? So this one is Illuvium Deathmatch. This is the gamble game that's come out over the last month or so from Illuvium. I don't touch on it too often, because I don't personally play it a ton myself, but basically, some of these Illuvials that you do get from packs, and like say from the past with Overworld, for example, and the auto drones, like you can take those Illuvials and bring them into Deathmatch and kind of wager them in the sense that you're putting them on the line. There is the chance of permadeath and losing the Illuvial completely if they get killed off. But there are prizes involved, whether it be bones in the free mode to potentially then get more packs and get more Illuvials, or there is also skulls which can be turned into real life currency if you would like. So it's basically the play to earn, it's the gamble side of things here for the Illuvium universe. Again, I don't touch it too often, but it's been since week 1 since we last covered it, so it's definitely been due. I wanted to take a look at this one here. And then this here is the latest jackpot that came through. Let's take a look. This was just 6 hours ago after 10 days of people trying. We get into this battle, which is a little bit more my liking in regards to a standard game. We see a lot of tier 1s getting in here, and a couple of lower stage tier 4s and tier 5s. Heck, even the Graco, of course, the absolute GOAT in the arena in regards to tier 0s, getting into the swing of things here as well. First Blood this time going over to Stone's Borges. No, that's going to Sergio, actually. Their greater Rapon did a fantastic job of cleaning up a quick kill. The Chikoro actually got into this one and kept itself alive there. First Sir Dexter. Bit of a back and forth for all of these groups here. That's going to be the Scarabok taking the win in that battle. We lose the Furiox there from Lucy Mai. So that's a big one. Big DPS off of the board now. Little Kuka coming on through. Goes down as well. Now we've got a big old cluster at the top to potentially round this one up. We got the Scarabok from Stone Borges. We've got Sergio in the Apon, and we've got Sir Dexter Morgan with the Chikoro. Lots of AoE across the board. The Apon gets a good stun off. They're trying to take down the Scarabok, but the Scarabok is so tanky, and it's going to be able to hold the line just long enough to score a jackpot that took like 10 days to actually build up. Over 6,000 onto this one as well. And this one, in regards to permadeath, was a little bit light, thankfully, for some of the players, but we still did lose a couple. First off, Stone Borges here, that Scarabok, that win was a $59 win. If we Talk about skulls, about 5,972 to be specific there. And that was a Scarabok of what kind of TPI was that? That was a 70 TPI, so that's a solid little Scarabok that tanked so much. Nicely done there for Stone Borgus. In regards to the actual Illuvials that we did lose here on the battlefield, Jumpaz is going to end up losing their Rye. Poor little guy didn't have a chance, even though it was a nice one as well. An 89 TPI Rye coming on through here, just completely killed off. And then we do see Spider Hero with, again, another solid tier 1 here. T-Ruro gets absolutely killed off here as well. Everybody else is going to end up surviving, but still, that's the risk you take with Deathmatch. There's always the chance that you just get completely killed off. And as always, when we're going over these, of course, reviewing the jackpots, I mean, that's cool, it's exciting, and absolutely, like, love to see it. However, as always, please do make sure that when you're playing this game, because there is real-world value on the line, whether it be your Illuvials, the value of the Illuvials, or even just the entry fees to get into the game, at the end of the day, this is a game of chance. This game is gambling. So please, do not play with anything that means something to you. Do not go above your means. Don't hyperextend. Please play responsibly. I know personally in my time with college esports, it was right when the big boom of Counter-Strike skins were a big thing and gambling with Counter-Strike skins. I've seen people go from working a ton and being like completely well off to working their ass off, but then getting stuck with this gambling problem to the point where they're begging their teammates for rent money and for food. Do not let that be you. Please play responsibly. Now, we are right on the cusp here from actually having a standard match actually go live. So I think, is it time that we maybe attempt to pull off an upset? Because again, I have a couple of Illuvials, because I did get a bones refund relatively recently where I got about 200 bones, so I opened up 2 packs. So I have a couple of Illuvials. And I have a couple of cents left over from before. Because I do not play this often. I played a little bit when the game first came out. But personally, I cannot stand crypto transactions, and I do not want to bring any more into the game. I wish that there was a way to do it with just traditional transactions, but again, with this being a gambling site, there's definitely laws that probably prohibit that from happening. Yeah, this is my ace here. In fact, you know what? 81 TPI ace, I am not going to screw that around that. I'm sending that home. I am not going to put that into deathmatch. And same thing here with this Relentless Links. Relentless Links, I mean, we have a bunch in the community rescue already. And let me actually quickly flashbang you with my spreadsheet for a second here. As always, it wouldn't be a silent stream if I didn't pull up my damn spreadsheet at least once here. My Illuvials, let me double check my Relentless Links. It is an 83, so okay, I can actually afford to keep this guy here. But at the same time, do I actually want to use it? Because if I recall correctly, if I were to play with it, that's all 70 of my credits right there in one go. So oddly enough, I think that Lynx is going to stay on the bench. Did anybody else snipe my spot? No, it looks like it's going to be still available. So what we'll end up doing, we'll do a little bit of a round. And let's see. Okay, so it's literally one skull per power, it seems, okay? So I can either do this en masse or put something of a little bit more strength in here. I think I'm just going to go en masse. Some of these Illuvials are probably better off in the free side of things, but at the end of the day, this is just absolutely chance-based. I think, which one do I feel like using? Rye, I feel like is probably pretty bad. Quickly gonna double check, make sure I don't get my spot sniped. Still here. And I think we'll throw in, I don't know what it is about Dokas, but apparently Dokas are like really good right now. So I'm gonna put the Doka in, and then let's fire in the dust here in just a second, assuming it comes up. by... Boom. There we go. Stream snipe blockage. There we go. My Gazatepo used its dust to prevent us from seeing exactly where I went. Where do we go? Let's take a look. Put that on, so that's 33 skulls that's going to be coming on through. Let's get into this. Okay. And get this off the board. There we go. We have a replay coming on through. Let's see how my Doka can hold off in this one. Watch, this ends up being a Doka in the midst of a bunch of tier 5s. Let's take a look. Actually, no, this isn't too bad, but what scares me is I put myself apparently right next to the Mammoth. That is not a good time here for me. But we do have a Riley or Rylu potentially coming in to maybe help save me. Whose Mammoth is that? That's Money Shot 69 and their Mammoth coming on through to really give me a hard time. Can we somehow take this thing down before we get killed off too quickly? Oh god, that went to the Riley. Yeah, or the Rylu. We're going to get completely demolished here in 8th place. 100% not going to be winning a thing this time by. But what do we end up having? It looks like it's a Doka. Sure enough, Halagon's Lesser Fire Doka is actually in a great spot. Sergio's Rylu, and then the Atlas for Sir Dexter. The fact that this Doka is coming in might actually save Sir Dexter ever so slightly. There's the shield, there's the AoE. Or the heal, rather, not shield. I'm thinking of Arena a little bit. But they're going to punch away here onto that Rylu, and the Rylu does have only a heal as an Omega effect, so no additional DPS buffs. So I'd oddly say that this is probably a lot closer than we might actually think. Into the favor, at least, of the Doka, Lesser Doka, big heal from the Rylu, but oh, sure enough, I might have been onto something. I used my Doka. The Lesser Doka, though, is going to be the one that ends up winning. But it was just unlucky. I parked myself directly on top of a Mammoth there from Money Shots, and we are going to end up losing our Doka. So big thank you to the Doka for your service. Hate the fact that it was only a one and done with you, but we are going to get killed off this time. Now, is there any other games that could be potentially lining up here? This very well could be a scenario where maybe it's just done rather quickly. I know matches for the standard mode have slowed down at least a little bit now that everybody's essentially blown off their collections. I mean, there's a couple games every hour, it looks like. This was probably the biggest gap that we've seen there for the last little bit, but congrats there, the Halagon. That Lesser Fire Doka really coming in clutch there. So I can probably move over to free mode. Let's see if we can get ourselves a free mode hero. These ones are still active and going, at least as of this second. Quickly go over to standard, actually. Oh, I guess there is one loading up. Maybe it was a bit of a visual bug. I was gonna say, there's no way that there's not another lobby at least queued up, like, or close to queued up. So, okay, we at least got that. Maybe we put one in and then take a look at a potential free mode game here in just a second. So let me bring my Gazetep back out here in just a second. Get one queued. All right, who do we use this time? I've got 42 left. So if I were to use something like right at the bottom of the barrel, what am I spending here? It would just be the flat fee of 12, eh? Okay. I mean, in terms of getting most bang for my buck, that's probably my best chance. That's of the Illuvials that I'd be willing to throw into this. And just kind of prolong the stream so that we're not completely blowing everything right immediately. Maybe we'll bring in the water Tipo this time by. Only 15 skulls for this one, so we can give that a shot. Let's queue in. And this one's actually going to start, so there we go. We can hop right into this next one right away. This is the one that just happens. Hang on, hang on. Let's go to the actual match. There we go. So, my dear Tipo, what kind of upsets could you possibly pull off here? I mean, this isn't terrible, but that Valente is probably going to go towards me. Down in the bottom right, my little Tipo... Oh, even the Kuko's coming for me. I'm going to get absolutely murdered now. I thought that Kuko was going to go play with the Riley, No, not a chance. It's going to be the Valente and the Kuka directly on top of me, so I am going to, in fact, be the first blood. My poor little Tipo not going to be long for this world. We do have a couple battles in a few different spots here. Left-hand side got two very full health Illuvials essentially at this point here. That Axon coming out here from Sir Dexter is going to hold the line rather nicely. We do see the Ludora take care of the Rhine there from Sergio, so now that's going to be the lesser Doka. No Doka shenanigans this time by the Axon takes care of that, but the Riley getting third-partied in by the Lallura is going to be big, but now this is a perfect chance here for Sir Dexter Morgan with that Axon essentially full health, going in on just two already very injured Illuvials. Sir Dexter's going to clean this up like it's nobody's business. Nicely done there for Sir Dexter. I'm going to get absolutely crushed. Does my Illuvial survive? Of course, even in with its standard mode, you do have at least a chance of being revived, but not going to be the case here. I will completely lose my poor little Tipo. That'll be killed off alongside the Graco there from Furies. But let's see, yeah, Sir Dexter and that one going to get themselves just under $1 worth of winnings at Axon. Was that Hollow as well, if I saw that correctly? Because if I recall now, I believe Hollow gives you an additional bonus to your stats. For whatever reason, I feel like I remember seeing the Hollow icon at some point here, but maybe I could be wrong. But not bad nonetheless here. This one we've already seen. So we've got ourselves another opportunity here for a standard match, but I think I'm going to take a quick breather and go to the free mode and see if we can maybe turn some of our extra Illuvials into some more Illuvials, get some chances to try and rebuild the team for Illuvium Arena. Get some high TPI like we saw with that one ace. I almost threw in an 81 TPI ace into the deathmatch. I do not want to do that. In fact, if it was 81, what's my current ace actually? 85. So yeah, it could pair up very nicely with my current ace if I'd like to. But in regards to the free mode, let's quickly set one up and see what we can do. If we can get some bones, that'd be absolutely incredible. If I recall correctly, it's about 100 bones still, so basically $1 to be able to get a pack of Illuvials. This time, I think we'll try out the Pangu. Where do we want to put the Pangu? Let's give it a shot. See if we're lucky enough to go on a run here with our Slappin'. And should be hopping into a game, I think, in just a second's time. I'm going to quickly take a look at the standard mode, see what the lineup is for that. Still sitting there at 8, so we're A-okay for the time being. And there we go. We have ourselves a match here for our Slappin'. Come on, buddy. Give me something other than a 7th and a 10th so far here today. It's not been a great start, and I don't have much faith in this current setup here. My Slappin' on the left-hand side is going to get flanked over by this Fern, so it's going to have just even more damage to have to put up with. If it can get the kill onto this Heady, it can at least have an opportunity to get that big heal and get onto that Fern. I mean, the Doka coming on 4th maybe will buy me some time. Nope, that's actually just going to be straight up the Heady, just going to clap me big time. So going to be taken out extremely quickly here. Patch Tourist and their Heady. Big win there. The Doka threw a wrench into things there, though, for the Fern. McSign's Fern does end up going down, so we've got Matango, Deathmatch Daddy, Jub, Patch Tourist, and who the hell threw a Seer into this one? We see Matango, Seer in a great spot to be able to clean up this fight. One more down. Jub's going to fall into 3rd place, but we still have this Mammoth trying its damnedest to go up against Matango Seer. 73 TPI Seer up against a 75 TPI Baby Mammoth. And we're seeing a little bit of a slugfest coming on through here. But I think we know where this one's going. Slowly but surely, that is going to be the Seer cleaning up house here. And that's going to be Matango with 20 bones coming their way. How many kills was that, I wonder? We'll see in just a second. My Penguin, with it dying so damn quickly, means it has no chance of potentially surviving this free mode. And we have a absolute bloodbath. So let's take a look here. Yeah, Matango with the 2 kills, getting the win with 20 bones. But Deathmatch Daddy short to follow with 3 kills. Still gets at least 16 bones towards their their winnings, and they do end up surviving. The Doka comes on through here for Jub as well, getting first blood, so it's going to survive. But then everything else is dead. The Hetty, Slappin', Fern, the Exalted Earth Grocko, my Slappin', the Arctase, everything just dies thanks to the high death odds here in the free mode. I have probably one more shot here for standard unless I can somehow make a cheapo come on through and steal a win. Let's take a look in a couple moments time. I'm going to quickly get things situated here. I think I have enough for this and maybe one more if I'm lucky. And this match is going to happen right away. There we go. A little baby Atipo, what do you got in the tank? Do we at least get a decent position for you for once? This isn't bad, actually, because at least my Atipo should be able to survive just off of the fact that nobody's actually going to be targeting it. We do see an Axon come through. That's going to be Sergio's Axon. I mean, we've seen what happened with an Axon in the past match. Did a very great job. My Atipo just completely intense third-partying in onto the Axon. And with all of these Illuvials fighting each other, I think if I'm lucky, I might be able to actually get into the points here. With this little baby Atipo, it's the worst thing I pulled in the pack. But everybody's fighting each other, so there we go. We're dedicated, or for sure, going to actually get into the prizing. Now that Axon is going to turn and burn onto my poor little Atipo. This isn't going to be a fair fight in the slightest. But can we maybe survive and kill off that Doka? Yes, we will. We make the top 3 with a little baby Atipo. But now the real fight's going to begin here in a second. Sir Dexter up against Sergio. The battle between the two stage 2 tanks. This is going to be a tough one. An absolute wet noodle fight. Let's take a look at this one specifically. So the Caradulo coming on through. This one is hollow. That's what I'm talking about there. The 15% extra bonus. Meanwhile, same thing here for Sergio. So both players completely content throwing hollows, which of course is the akin to shinies and very rare finds in the Illuvium universe. But getting those for the additional stat bonus came in huge. That Caradulo came very close there for Sir Dexter. But Sergio and their Axons going to win this one. Can the legendary baby Atipo stay alive? 90% chance to actually keep themselves alive into this one. And we do keep the legendary baby Atipo, and we do actually get a little bit of credits coming on through. There we go. 65 cents coming on through from my little baby Atipo. Do we do this again? We'll see here in just a sec, actually. The Greater Fire Doka from Tapiao is going to end up falling. Gets killed off. The little Caribou from Cycle is going to end up going down. Money Shot lost a dash, actually, there in that big cluster on the left-hand side. That's definitely brutal. Ex-Billionaire here as well. The Relentless Links also gets killed off here as well. So there we go, little Atipo. We were hoping for an upset to keep us in the game, and sure enough, because of that Atipo, we are technically positive on the day. Did not expect that to be the case, but hell, it worked out that time. Do we let our legendary baby Atipo do this again? I think we might just do it. Alright, we'll get queued up here. It might take a little bit of time, though, for it to actually come through. So let's switch it on over to the free mode in just a moment. Wifey says hi. Okay, so this is a free mode match in progress. I'm going to throw something into the free mode here in just a sec. Oh, you're good. Let's see, we got a couple of Relentless Linkses. We'll put in the one that's 48 TPI, I think. That's the one we'll end up doing. All right.
3, 2, 1.
And this one should be starting in just a second. Now, I know the Illuvium community is rather mixed in regards to this game as a whole, but I would love to know, like, what Illuvial of yours has been, like, your big pop-off, or what's been your best run so far, or have you been just getting completely cooked in Deathmatch and had your fill for it? I know, at least personally, like I was saying before, I don't usually play Deathmatch now. When it first came out, I had an abundance of Illuvials thanks to my time in Illuvium Overworld. But as soon as I gone through my collection, I was pretty content at that point. Like, the description that I kind of been using is that it's like I've gone to a restaurant, so to speak. Like, the food was good. I had a good time. It was fun overall. It was a good time and whatnot. But I can't just keep eating. Eventually, I have my full. I'll come back later. That's kind of how I see Illuvium Deathmatch, at least for me personally. It's definitely become that way now, because if I was in a financial position where I'd want to be able to get more Illuvials, I wouldn't want to do it through crypto. I would have done it through fuel, through the auto drone. But of course, with the auto drone all of a sudden just randomly disappearing to the fact where your only way of getting Illuvials is through crypto purchases, that's absolutely heartbreaking, because of course you can use skulls, you can use bones to get this. But if I were to actually go through and try to actually buy skulls, it says credit card, but then it's trying to get you to use credit card to buy crypto, which at least in Canada, that's illegal. I can't use a credit card to go buy crypto. And I know there's a couple of other countries like this. So US, you might be fine and think that I'm just talking out of my ass. But in some countries, like Canada, for example, I can't use my credit card to buy crypto. So I get absolutely cooked there. Ex-Billionaire, good to see you. Phosphorus won me 3,400 skulls. But you also needed bones to resurrect. So, I mean, fair enough. But still, that's a hell of a run there for the Phosphorus. So that's two pretty epic Phosphoruses then, or at least Terror Birds, because I remember it was Sir Dexter with Goldfeather. I actually made a video on this before. But Goldfeather won Sir Dexter a lot of skulls as well. And that was just a Phorus, so the Phosphorus coming on through here for Ex-Billionaire, that's pretty sick, actually. Now, one thing I wish I didn't see is that my balance actually already shot up quickly. Let's take a look at the results from that last match. The legendary Atipo. What did it just do? Okay. I'm not going to take a look at the results. Let's just get into this one. Dexter killed your Phosphorus with his and stopped the run. Of course he did. Damn.
3.
All right, this is round number 2 of our legendary baby Atipo. They already won us a couple of skulls in one battle, and honestly, it's set up to do maybe the same this time by. It's off on the top. Nobody's going to be there to mess with it. And the one bonus, because of course, the Atipo, all it does is heal. It has no kill secure. It has no damage buffs in the slightest here in Deathmatch. All it has is a heal, but it has big range on its auto attack, which allows it to third party in, like we're seeing right here, right now. It's still full health while all these other monkeys and all these other Illuvials are wailing away on each other. Is there a world where maybe our Atipo can kick this exalted monkey's ass? We'll have to see with the help of the Kuka. Maybe we can. There we go. The Kuka coming in to save our life. The Atipo again is going to get us into the prizing. Oh gosh, some of these people must hate me right now because this is absolutely brutal. We're going to get into the prizing once again. Just third partying in onto some other fights. That's actually incredible. But in regards to our next battle, there is Sota with the Kuka, and Sir Dexter again here with this absolute monstrosity of an Axon. I believe, yep, the 6-7 Axon coming on through with the hollow buff as well. Kuka hollowed out here as well for Sota. So two very strong Illuvials, even though they're not fully evolved. The Kuka is actually in the lead here. A little bit of a slap fight. There is no Omega coming on through here from the Axon. So Sir Dexter, the Axon falls, Sota and the Kuka gonna end up winning this one. Do we keep this legendary Atipo? We do keep this Atipo going. That's actually incredible. Let's take a look and see if the wins this time by. So that's 54 cents coming on through here for us, thanks to our legendary baby Atipo. Sota gonna be walking away with about 78 cents this time. 65 cents going over to Sir Dexter. Sergio going to keep that greater monkier. I called it an exalted monkier, but it was a greater monkier, actually, to be corrected. The 43 cents going their way. Cycle is going to be the last one getting into the prizing with that Atlas. Halagon tried their damnedest here with this lesser Air Valente, but it got first blood, so at least it survives the fight. Cannot say the same for these two, though. Tapiao and Money Shot going to lose their Illuvials. It's going to be a lesser gorilla being killed off here for Tapiao, but more importantly, at least in regards to rarity, Money Shot losing a mammoth, a baby mammoth, but still brutal stuff coming on through. Ex-Billionaire and Fury's both going to keep their tier 0s alive as well. GG, Sax. Pleasure playing with you. Nice position, absolutely. That was definitely lucky. Because, yeah, if I do not get a spot open to myself, my Atipo is cooked. 100% cooked. Because it cannot defend itself in the slightest. It can only just sit and ask for help. But let's see our legendary baby Atipo. Round number 3. Can they pull off another upset? I'm asking a lot of it, I know. But I think we got another matchup actually happening prior to this, so let's quickly hop on through and cast this one. This is another live standard match.
3, 2,
Hang on a second. Where am I? I'm off on the top left side, actually. So this is live. I'm going immediately up against this Caribou, it looks like. Oddly enough, I'm not actually green this time. Look at this absolute cluster down in the bottom left. Please, AoE, kill everybody as fast as possible. We're right near the top 5. Hang on, Atipo. You're so low. Can it survive one more? No, we're gonna just barely be outside the top 5. We were very close to potentially scoring a upset victory there.
3 players remaining.
Shows us in the green here as cycled, and to be honest, it's fair enough to highlight them because they're in a great spot. But this damn Kuka coming back here from Sota, we saw what it just did in the last one. Now it's going up against this Caribou here from Cycled. This one is a Dark Hollow Caribou, so it gets an additional 30% onto all of its stats. I don't feel so bad for losing that 1v1 now over in the corner. It's still a very close back and forth between both of these Illuvials, but I don't think the Caribou has any sort of burst, but it does have a heal. Stun gonna be coming on out here from the Kuka, but there is the heal coming on through from the Caribou. And with that, a nice back and forth, but the Dark Hollow Caribou gonna put an end to Sota's Kuka for at least the time being. There is still a very good chance that the Kuka survives, and it looks like it does, but on the sad end, our legendary Atipo has fallen for us. Finally, after 3 rounds. Hate to see it go, but that was absolutely incredible run nonetheless. Mad respect for that Atipo. It did way more than what I was expecting. Lots of deaths actually here into this one. For whatever reason, the scoreboard's not showing up for me here. Trying to see if I can bring it back. No, it's going to end up leaving on me, eh? Okay. But, damn. The poor little Atipo. It was a valiant effort, but could not last forever.
3,
Yeah, that was an absolute monster of a Caribou as well. I want to take a look at the free mode. I did have a Illuvial in that mode. I can take a look and see how they did. This would have been my Lynx. Do we manage to survive? Where are we? We're up between a couple of polar bears. That's not a good time. I do have another Relentless Lynx coming on over to potentially maul this mule here. But I'm already going to be extremely, extremely low. We might get lucky and survive. No, we're not even going to survive at all. We were completely massacred in that one by that mule. But it's going to fall pretty quickly as well. So that would have been Cyberset and their mule, but look out for this penguin alongside the little Lura coming on through here as well for BLS. Clark here as well. If that's stabbing, going to do some serious work. We do end up losing Tipsy and their Relentless Links, the one that was going up against the mule down in the bottom with me. But I imagine once this attack speed comes on through that this penguin will have an absolute field day. There it is. And just to rub salt on the wounds, a big old 10th place there for us this time by. That one hurts. My poor Lynx definitely deserves better. But will end up falling very quickly into this one. Absolute heartbreaker. So that's going to be 2 polar bears, I think, that get killed. No, one got first blood. Well, got first blood on me, so duh, fair enough. So, yeah, we get absolutely murked. Poor Lynx. I definitely cannot wait for when Obelisk Rising comes out and the bonding system, where I can then turn my extra Illuvials into experience and other features, or an Illuvial that I want to keep, so to speak. So I'd rather, I mean, I know it's the same thing. You're technically burning the asset or killing off the Illuvial to level up another. But at least to me, like, I can then say that I'm using the essence of that Illuvial. It's inside the Illuvial that I'm keeping, so a part of it is still always there, rather than just completely killing it off here in Deathmatch. But I definitely understand the appeal here with Deathmatch, though. There's a place for it. But I know I wish I had something else to sink these Illuvials into. Now, the next lowest I would have to potentially make an upset is another Atipo. It is a fire Atipo this time by. We'll give it a shot here in just a second. We should be loading into a battle in just a second. Quickly get rid of my stream sniper.
3, 2, 1.
And match is starting up. All right, Atipo. You got some big shoes to fill.
3, 2.
And where are we? We are in an island on our own up on the top side. There we go. We're finding a couple of lucky spots here, and honestly, that's just the whole thing. There isn't necessarily skill involved with anything in regards to Deathmatch. It's just a matter of picking your Illuvial and then finding a spot that hoping nobody else is taking. I've been very blessed that we've been able to make the top 5 once again. Legendary baby Atipo, and I think we're going to be safe again because Akuka once again is coming on through. Stota going to come on through. Can I maybe get the kill there? No. We're going to make the top 3 once again. The Akuka is going to absolutely kill me. But then once again, it's a similar battle in this instance. Sota with the Kuka, Sir Dexter with the Axon. These 2 Illuvials keep battling each other over and over and over again, but they aren't actually getting killed off here. So they get an absolute, just time after time, incredible battles between these 2. This one's looking like it's actually going Sir Dexter's favor, though. The stun coming out here from the Kuka is going to slow it down for just a second. But now that heal and that, not the stun, but the damage that also comes around is going to make things very, very difficult. One more shot from the Axon, going to seal the deal. Sir Dexter going to take that one. Sweeps the round. First blood plus a win. Can our legendary Atipo, or new legendary Atipo that made the upset, stay alive? 10% chance to die, and nope, we're going to keep ourselves alive. The little Atipo that could shall get us into the points once again. 64 skulls coming our way. Sir Dexter the big winner, though. 93 going their way. 77 to Sota. Cycle to 51. And then Sergio going to round up the prizing here with 35. But they do lose their Rye. And this was a bloody round here for the standard mode. We do see Sergio losing the Rye. Furies lost their Atipo. Halagon lost their Valente. Monster, or Return ADR, lost their Arctace. A lot of people got absolutely crushed there. So that's a very, very big surprise. We'll queue up for one more here with our new legendary Atipo. And then I'll answer X-Billionaires here. What's your biggest bone earner? Let's see. All right, we're queued up. We'll get into that in just a second. So I'd find that under my results page. Let me get rid of my stream snipe protector. My Or I'll go over, I guess, both of mine. I've only played Standard, and I've only played free mode. So my biggest skull earner is actually... Let's see if I can get out of the way here for a second. It was actually a Jokul. I did have a Jokul at the very, very beginning when Deathmatch first came out. Give me about $7 worth of skulls. And then in regards to free mode, very on brand for me, it was actually a Cephorus, where it lasted 14 games and got me a total of 232 bones, which I'm definitely proud of. I imagine some of you probably have some Illuvials that stand out way more than that, but for me at least, that was a major standout. We have another one here with our Atipo. Where do we begin? Oh dear, I'm directly up against a Lesser Air Valente, it looks like. That's not going to put me in a good spot, but there is at least a Grocco there for backup. Can we hang on potentially? At least the Grocco itself doesn't do much damage. Can I maybe get the heal with the last hit off an auto attack? We do. We got first blood. No matter what, the Atipo will continue to survive here. Can this brawl in the top right just go faster so maybe we get some points as well? That would be absolutely insane. But we have a lot of low health bars. Can we score top 5? We're not quite there yet. I'm 7th as of this moment, going up against this Grocco, and we do end up dying. But at least we do not lose our Atipo. The run will keep going. Absolute mess. We have 2 Axons this time. That's going to be Monster coming through a return ADR alongside Sir Dexter. We don't have Sota's Kuka this time by. We do lose Fury's Doka, and then we have 2 more low health bars. The Axons are both very low, but the Grocco got completely nuked by the double Aqua Bubbles coming out here from the Axon. It's going to be Mothpuck or Monster or Return 8AR up against Sir Dexter. They both use their Omegas. It's going to come down the crits and auto attacks, and that's going to be Mothpuck, Monster, Return 8AR. Going to stop the combo here of whether it being Sota or Sir Dexter. Monster going to get onto the leaderboard. Of course, we did. Just barely. We have no kill secure in an Atipo. Nothing but auto attacks, but we do survive. The young Atipo gonna hang on for another round at least. I'm gonna give it a brief second here because it does look like the lobbies have slowed down for just a second, or it could be visual. Let's double check. Okay, there we go. I'll wait until it says 7 or 8 or something along those lines. We can hop over to the free mode in just a second. This one looks like it's ready to go, so we can try a free mode game. Now this one says 9 out of 10. We'll give our shot with the links once again. I should be the last one into that lobby, so that's why I didn't mind just ignoring the stream snipe guard. Not a bad spot this time. We should be able to third party in onto this Doka and get a relatively clean start. There is another Relentless Lynx right across from us, though, taking a lot of damage. Deathmatch Daddy is going to be the one, I believe, who gets first blood. Now they have to go up against my Lynx, and my Lynx should be able to clean that up. There we go. Full health. Can we get another kill on maybe this Caribou to stop them from healing? No, the Lura is going to get that, so it's a little bit messy. But the Caribou's going after the Lura. That's pretty good. I hate that my Lynx is going after the Caribou, though. Can we get the heal? We do get the heal on that. We are into the bones. We're into the pricing. This Lura, that's going to be Papa Dick. That's going to be Rich, actually, coming on through with this Lura. I'm trying to get the stats on this thing. 59 TPI. It is a beefy fella, and it's going to end up taking me down here in 4th place, it looks like. Yep, sure enough, it's going to be it right there. Rich is about to win something. Everybody, Clippers, get your clips ready, because Rich is about to win something. That is going to be the Lura coming out here from Papa Dick. Going to get the win. Big old 20 bones going their way. Mothpuck, there you are. Congrats on the win there in that last standard mode. GG's. Hope you're having a fantastic day there, Monster. That will take it. 8 bones. Thanks to that Lynx. Unfortunately, it will fall there, but that's the nature of free mode. It is an absolute bloodbath there. Now, this was a little while ago. Let's just hit reveal. This isn't something that we've already watched this one yet. Get all cleaned up here. quickly going to refresh because I'm feeling a little bit of lag here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Maybe a nice little refresh will give me a better spot. One thing I do like is they've actually put the holo icons directly on top of the results icons, but I wish I would have saw this in the end screen. For whatever reason, I don't think I did. Because that last battle makes a little bit more sense then, because it was a holo versus a dark holo, then return ADR with that extra little bit of... Oh, I mean, that was a 70 TPI compared to a 43, so I mean, that was actually a very close battle. Damn. Closer than we thought. Okay, I'm going to line one up in just a second, but we're going to do it in the free mode again. It's still 7 out of 10 here. Meanwhile, we're right around the corner here for another free mode. You got banned for a week? Sorry if you did something wrong, just expressing my opinion. Hey, I'm not a staff member, I'm just a guy. So you don't have to say sorry to me. And all things considered, I don't blame you. I saw the discussion and spamming. I definitely get that. One thing that I will mention that I do want to reiterate that was something I discussed at the very beginning of the stream, though, is unfortunately for Nil, of course, the lead developer, I believe, for Deathmatch, and then was the lead developer, I believe, for Illuvium Arena. I was just told before the stream that they were laid off. So I have no... Or they were not only laid off, but all of their work that they're doing in regards to Illuvium Deathmatch is actually free. So if Nil is sounding frustrated, keep that in mind a little bit, because in theory, poor guy just lost his job, but he's still putting in the work onto Deathmatch as much as possible as a bit of a passion project, which I absolutely respect the hell out of. Wait. Yeah, so things are going to be a little bit odd, just to say the least. Anyway, we got some free mode matches. Check the standard one real fast as well. Alright. Now, do we try the app on this time? I think we try the app on. When free mode first came out, the app-on was actually pretty clutch at getting a lot of people a ton of bones, whether it be the Exalted or even the Lessers did a fantastic job there. So let's quickly pop in a greater app-on and see if maybe we can score some bones for ourselves. The absolute, like, big-time goal would be to get enough bones so we can open up a pack here today. That's going to be tough, though. I know the amount of bones you get per game is much lower than when launch happened. This is just another match in progress. It looks like we're getting into our next match right here, right now. There we go. Yeah, Mothbach Monster, like, in regards to anything Illuvium, you never have to say sorry to me, because I am not a staff member. I'm just a player, just like you. I just happen to do content that involves Illuvium. But let's see, app on this time, it has to go up against the little Lura. Jub here with an 82 TPI. That's going to hurt a little bit. Big ol' stun going to be coming on through. This Lura in a one-on-one scenario is absolutely going to eat me alive, and we have no chance, it looks like. We will end up getting clubbed this time. So we have a few more, though. Of course, Gregory Golden with the lesser Atipo. We have a couple of Atipos coming on through to try and be heroes, but they're attacking each other. Now they're going to try and turn onto the Lura, but it's a little bit too late. Jub in a great spot. That is going to be a loss there for the Relentless Lynx as well of Hector. Now it's going to come down to a one-on-one. Matango's Ebb versus Jub's Lura, but at least the Ebb had the Omega immediately in the bank. But as we're seeing here, the big crits come on through. There's the Omega. Jub gets this one rather handily. Still over half of their health left to go. Nicely done there, Jub. I'm banned on Discord today too, but I didn't write a single comment on Discord yet. Maybe it's the same problem. There is that potentially as well. I know that's happened to me before, where if Discord itself has like a server issue, that it'll label you as banned, and sometimes the server straight up won't show up. I'm quickly taking a look to see if it's showing up here for me in particular. It looks like it is still active. All right, interesting. I'll have a little bit more to talk about on this week in Illuvium, more than likely. I just gotta make sure that I have permission to say the least. Standard mode, it's still at 7 out of 10. I do see the one results ping, but I think this is old. Yeah, looks like this is old. So I'm going to queue one up for standard mode. And whenever we have the opportunity, we'll come back and see how our dear Tipo ends up doing. Okay, there we go. We'll pause for a second and just watch this game. I'm going to catch up with chat real fast here. So yeah, if you're banned from Discord, sometimes if Discord's having an issue, it'll say that you're banned, or not that you're banned, but the server doesn't exist. Give it a few minutes, maybe give it an hour or so, see if it comes back. If not, then there could have been a mistake. We'll have to see. If there's one thing that I'll mention, though, there, JACKPOT or Ethan, that your Discord tag does look like a bot tag. So if there was a de facto cleansing of the Discord of, say, bots, for instance, there is a chance that something could have happened by mistake. So if it doesn't come back within a day, please reach out to me, whether it be on YouTube or on Discord, and I can redirect that to somebody else on the Illuvium side of things. Alora Paul, subscribe now. Thank you so much for subscribing. Got something special for you. Reach out on Discord. We'll have to see, but no matter what, I thank you for subscribing, and I do also want to give a big thank you to everybody. Actually, we hit a major milestone on the channel for me personally. They always said that the first 100 subscribers was always the hardest, but then getting up to 200 is also just as tough. And I'm so happy and excited for the fact that we did just cross over 200 subscribers here onto the YouTube channel just yesterday. So massive thank you to everybody for all the support with just tuning into the streams, tuning into the videos, and the Illuvium community as a whole. It is sometimes a little bit scary being so focused on Illuvium when you don't know necessarily what the future will bring, but I take solace in the fact that regardless of what happens, we're here having a fun time with all of you. So I thank you so much for watching the content, coming in, hanging out day in, day out, week after week, joining House League and competing, and just having a great time. So massive thank you to everybody for your support. 1K soon. I mean, that's the ultimate dream, right? At least personally, I have two major milestones that I would love to hit, which lets me potentially take something up to the next level. And in fact, give me a second here and maybe I can actually pull up what I'm talking about in particular. Because on the YouTube side of things, I don't earn a thing, right? Like, my channel is still super tiny, and I'm not a part of any sort of ownership or anything along those lines. So here's what I'm talking about. Or say earning on the YouTube side of things, becoming like a channel that could actually get monetized and could potentially get some like financial support while I'm doing what I love here with all of you. We did, I'd argue, the hard part already, because the first part is getting 4,000 watch time hours or down here. We are well on our way from being able to get that. In fact, right now, for this first portion here, if I got 3,000 public watch hours or valid public watch hours and 500 subscribers, you can get the equivalent of Twitch subscriptions on the YouTube side of things. So like people are subbing to your channel and that kind of stuff if they wanted to help support more. We actually did the hard part first. for most people, getting that watch hours is the hardest part of this journey. The subscribers come easy. It's been the reverse here for me. You need to get up to 500 to then become eligible, and we are slowly but surely crawling our way there. And my hope is that if Illuvium does become successful and does end up going further, that hopefully I can kind of come along for the ride a little bit, and that'll end up going up. Then there is an additional version of the membership that's a little bit more in regards to watch page ads. I know I hate ads just as much as all of you, but it would definitely go a long way into adding additional support towards content. And again, getting the 4,000 watch hours is usually the hard part. We'll be there very, very soon with how much support's been coming on through here from you guys watching the streams, competing in the events, and just having fun. It's just subscribers. So, at least personally, I'm very, very excited. I know I normally don't pull back the curtain like that, but those are 2 goals that I'm shooting for. But just note, that's not the end-all, be-all for what I'm doing. Like, I've done it for this long without any sort of, like, Twitch subscription or anything along those lines, just because I love what I'm doing. I love hanging out with y'all, and I want to keep doing that for as long as I can. As like I keep saying, as long as this is fun, I'll keep doing it. And if it were all of a sudden to start looking towards like the partnership side of things, maybe it lets me go a little bit harder into it, which, thinking about how much I'm doing already, is still like hard to think about. But that'd be absolutely incredible. But it's not the end of the world. I'm still here either way, and I thank you all for everything so far and to the future and onward. Do you have X? You should share videos there as well. I absolutely do. I will on occasion fire off the YouTube links, but I know at least for, say, Illuvium, for instance, they won't repost my stuff if it's on YouTube. I used to, when I was in a little bit of a better financial situation, I would... I'd get the X Premium so that you could actually stream on X, and then I would just multi-stream to YouTube and X and Twitch all at the exact same time. But I'm not in that position right now, so I've just been doing YouTube. And whenever I did do the streaming on X, Illuvium would always retweet my stuff. But the thing is, it's just the traffic of X can be questioned, to say the least. And I'd much rather have all of my streams focused in on a more evergreen platform and not one that's just kind of run over by the news, so to speak. Sota, good to see you. Have you ever tried to become a pro gamer? Oddly enough, trying to become a pro gamer is how I got into commentary in the first place. I started off my competitive journey by playing StarCraft 2. Or StarCraft Brood War going into StarCraft 2. So it was a late stage of... Or Brood War is still going, and it's going relatively strong, all things considered. But when StarCraft 2 first came out, I played that an absolute ton. I played Zerg, and I had gotten all the way up to being Masters in StarCraft 2 to the point where I then started competing in tournaments. I had traveled down to Florida for Major League Gaming, so... older generation, you'll know what I'm talking about, but an MLG for StarCraft 2, I competed there, but I got my ass kicked so bad that I kept on playing, but I was then just more so a fan at that point. But that's when I just consistently started watching professional StarCraft matches. So like I take a lot of inspiration, for example, from Tasteless and Artosis, two of like the best StarCraft commentators, period, out there. Two of the best commentators, period, out there, in my opinion. So I watched a ton of them, but then I also saw the more comedic side with someone named Husky StarCraft. And I decided to kind of take both of those styles in, while also being a long-time listener and watcher of the National Hockey League, so professional hockey. So taking the radio style or the commentary style of Husky plus Tastosis, while also keeping a sports mindset to it, is kind of where I then started just to commentate my own matches. I started to reach out to local events, like local LAN parties. They were hosting StarCraft 2 events. I'd say, hey, I'll stream and cast your stuff for free. StarCraft ended up slowing down locally, and then League of Legends came on through. Then I casted League of Legends. Overwatch became relatively popular. I started casting Overwatch. Fighting games, Super Smash Bros. And I kept going. And I kept working with the same guy for so long that when he eventually opened up a college esports team at our local college, they needed a broadcaster, and I was the guy for that. And I thankfully was able to have that as my main job, paying job, full time, from 2017 all the way up until 2025 when I had to go. Because things changed, to say the least. Still nothing but respect for them, and I still wish well upon them. I think you should have been a commentator at the World Cup instead. Honestly, there's thorns in my side saying I wish I maybe took a more traditional sports route. But the thing is, I'm open-minded to it. If the opportunity were to ever come up, I definitely am down for the idea. But just open-minded. I'm happy to learn and try new things. I didn't know you had such APM before. I used to actually be really good. When I was much younger, I would have been in my early 20s. I can hit some pretty decent APM, and then every race in StarCraft has their APM sinks, and I was able to at least hold my own. I was definitely not top level, but I was above average, so to speak. Now my wrist hurts like a bitch, though, so I just straight up cannot do it again. Mad Dogs will be on top. Hell yeah, there you go. Sorry, that went into a little bit of silent lore there for you. But when I talk about, or I will say while I'm looking for if this next match is happening yet. Okay, we're still loading up. But when I'm talking about hey, I unironically have casted 40 different esports titles, that's why I'm saying I'm not joking, because through that college esports thing, there were a lot of teams a part of it, a lot of different games that I had to learn to help support and cast to these college esports teams. And through that, I had a fantastic time, tons of experience. Call of Duty was a big one that I had to learn, even though my eyes hurt from watching it. Overwatch essentially turned into visual diarrhea, but somebody had to translate it. My favorite thing that I've casted prior to Illuvium, though, was when our college esports arena hosted not a regional, because that's the bigger one, but it was a mid-season invitational, or mid-season showdown for Pokemon. And that's where, I was already a big fan of Pokemon, and then being able to put on a production just like Pokemon themselves would, and then being able to cast that as well. I've done a lot. I know way too much about a bunch of different games. Unhealthy amount, probably, to be completely honest. Go outside and touch grass, and maybe tell me some biology facts about some real animals and not virtual ones. Yeah, I'm basically a virtual zoologist between the amount of knowledge I know between Pokemon, Pal World, and now Illuvium. We're still waiting on one more here for a standard match to come on through, so maybe we'll throw one into free. How quickly could you learn a game enough to cast it? 2 days. If not more, if not less. Because there's two different styles of casting, right? Oh, I can 100% cast a game within a day or two. It depends on which role I'm doing, though. If you want me to be the analyst, where I'm breaking down play by play, telling you exactly what happened, why things happened, and something along those lines, and be the analyst, that will take me a very long time to do, because that's all game knowledge, that's interactions. You kind of see me do this with Illuvium a little bit when I'm essentially teaching the game, so to speak. If you get the Fur Knight to hit your own allies with Twist Wing, that's an attack speed buff for your entire team, and that's why the Furiox was able to burst through the tank line and win that battle. Like, if you want that kind of breakdown, but with other esports, that takes days, if not months, to get true. However, if you like me just getting loud and getting really damn excited about something, I could do that for you in an hour. I can make do. Alright, let's get a free mode game in here. Alright, let's fire our links in. These games go quickly. I'm not going to worry about the stream snipe guard for this one. Yeah, so it just depends on what you exactly want me to do. And then a lot of things, too, with at least the job that I did have, is I wasn't just the caster. I was also the in-game observer, so the camera operator. And then usually the switcher, the producer as well. So where I shine overall is when it's a broadcast that needs to happen kind of quickly, where you're not expecting huge production value, but you need like that one guy who's a little bit of an all-arounder. That's where I fit in. Unfortunately, with my my old work, it did change a little bit to being more heavily produced, and that's where things started to struggle a little bit. But we have ourselves a battle here for my links. Let's take a look. We've got a snail right on my rear, which is a little bit scary. First blood. Okay, our links will survive no matter what here. So, however we finish, it's not the end of the world. That TNT just absolutely murked me. We do miss the prizing by a long shot, but again, at least we got the first blood, so at least we survive this time. We have two snails, actually. The one down at the bottom just got a solid kill as well. Three-person battle up in the top section here. That Rye looking like it's going to be a little worse for wear right as the shot from the TNT comes through. Two TNTs and a Valente coming on through to finish this one off. But I tell you what, the TNT here for Deathmatch Daddy looks like it's in a great spot. Tapio going to try and fight back, though. 86 TPI compared to 76. So this one on the top side, it might be worse in regards to health, but it has the stats. Will it be able to hang on? Not quite. That will be Deathmatch Daddy taking this one. 20 bones our way. Definitely sounds like a skill. To those who know, to those who respect it, it absolutely is. And I'm very, very thankful that, especially in this community, a lot of people notice it. And I'm very, very thankful about that. Because there's a lot of people out there that assume just because it's a video game, it means that you're dicking around, you're having fun. But like, I'll tell you, like, I've spent, with all of these esports titles, I do spend a lot of time in game, but I'm not playing for the heck of playing, or I'm not necessarily playing for the sake of enjoyment. Like, I'm hopping into spectator systems, I'm trying to fly around and see like the best camera angles. Like, say, figuring out, say, when I'm doing my Illuvium Arena House League, like flying around with a manual camera, trying to be a little bit cinematic, making sure that my mouse is on top of all the important Illuvials so we can see their levels, see their stats, sort of things. There's way more than just talking, and like just being able to tell a story. It's tough, and a lot of people like to downplay what I do, so I'm very thankful when people actually respect what I do. So, massive shout outs to y'all. Alright, one away here from potentially still getting into the standard match. So let's do free mode one more time. Because people see, like, oh, you're just hopping into game or something along those lines. But, like, say with a lot of my videos, I'm going to quickly throw in my links again and see if they have a little bit more luck this time. With a lot of my videos, when I'm talking about the Illuvials and how I snap over to showcasing which Illuvial that I'm talking about, people don't realize how long that actually took me, especially since I was getting the footage while Overworld was closing, so I was on a timer to get a cinematic of all of the Illuvials like doing their poses or their Omegas. Be able to do all of that within a week for over 100 and some odd Illuvials. That was a grind, but I'm so thankful I did because it definitely helps support the content. Alright, this time by, we're not going to get first blood, but our Lynx is not in a bad spot. We're going up against an Ebb and a Valente. The Ebb's going to turn and burn onto the Valente, actually, so this is the best case scenario for me. Can my Link secure the kill? It's about a half HP. We do get the big heal. Snowball. Now here comes the Relentless Link. That's going to be Harry's Relentless Link's coming on through. This is a little bit rough. Is it attacking me? It looks like it is. So we're not going to be able to survive. We're going to end up getting third. So we have like a 10% chance to potentially survive here. We're going to get some bones no matter what. Big thank you here to this Lynx for their valiant efforts. It's a 50% chance to survive. All right, Lynx, can we do another go-around with you? Or is that going to be it? That will be it. So 07s, of course, to our Lynx. Going to end up falling here, but of course it's going to fall alongside a bunch of others here as well, including that Ebb from Furies. Hector's Greater Air Valente going to end up falling here as well. What was the TPI on that thing, I wonder? Is it going to show me? 82 TPI, so a pretty strong little Valente going to end up going down. The Revo for Ezil going to end up going down here as well. A couple of Atipos falling alongside a Flish from, oddly enough, Protoss. We were just talking about StarCraft. Going to end up falling there. We do have a standard match that we can go see. Let's take a look at our legendary Atipo. Hector, thank you, standard live. Let me guess, you just dropped something directly on top of my Atipo, more than likely. Nope, we're actually at a great spot. There we go. We are once again, sorry if it clapped into the mic there, but I was very happy to see the fact that our Atipo is in a fantastic spot, the third party once again, and we are nowhere near the Axon off in the top right-hand side there. That's going to be Sergio, so I'm very worried about that. We do see the return of Sota's Kuka, though. It is down the bottom left-hand side, so my Tipo's probably going to have to deal with it at some point, unless it gets killed off extremely early. Very close. First blood should be coming around the corner in just a second. The Kuka is actually going to be the first blood. It does go down. Sota's Kuka. It's lasted for so long. It's finally going to end up falling, but I'm stuck up against Sir Dexter's Caradulo. There's not going to be high damage. Going to have way more health than my Atipo. We've made it into the top 5. There we go. The Atipo holding strong. We are going to end up falling in 4th. 14% of the pot going to be coming our way, which leads us into a battle of the Tier 1 tanks. Once again, it's going to be Sergio's Axon. We've seen this thing all day. This thing's hollowed out and it's pretty strong at that. Meanwhile, the Caradulo hollowed out for Sir Dexter as well. It's going to be a wet noodle fight to come on through. Slapping away, but this is going to be the one thing. Again, the Axon, while it has the heal, but it has that little bit of burst damage compared to just the stun coming on through from the Caradulo and the heal. So in theory, more DPS coming on through from that Axon, but there is that little brief period while the Axon is stunned. We don't see the icon for stun anymore. I don't know where it went, but this is going to end up being very close. The heal versus and the stun versus the heal and the burst damage. It's coming right down to the line. There is no actual Omega coming up through here for the Axon. It's going down to the wire. No Omega for you! Sir Dexter's Caradulo is going to clutch it up just barely. I thought that was going over to the Axon, but holy smokes, was I wrong. Flower, the Kuka has fallen, but can they keep themselves alive? How about our Atipo? Our Atipo's still in the game. How about that Flower? Did they survive? They did. So Sota, your Kuka hangs on for now. It may have not necessarily gotten results, but it has not gotten killed, at least. We do have Hector's Chuko. Heck, it got in there pretty well as well. The little Chuko that could. Going to scoop up some prizing here. 29 skulls going their way. I get lucky here as well. 43 skulls going my way. Halagon also pulling off a legendary Atipo run here. 34 on that Atipo. Damn. 54 skulls going their way. Sergio's Axon, once again, being an absolute menace, is going to be 40, or not 46, 65 credits going their way. And Sir Dexter winning that one with 78 credits going their way. For Rylu as well. Ethan was there. Oh no, but the Rylu actually passes. Valiant effort there, Ethan. That's a scary thing there with the Rylu in particular. And then there was also the Kukulus. We do see Mothbuck. They were in chat a little bit earlier here as well. But their Illuvials will survive. So there we go. We started this day at 75 skulls. Just left over from week 1. We are positive $1 so far with 100 skulls going our way. And I'm just going to keep this up. Like, I want to see how long can I just not put any money into the game and just keep playing. Like, I'm not looking to break big and then all of a sudden withdraw everything. Like, I just want to see how much can I just keep playing. I would love to eat more at this restaurant if, like, finances aren't a problem, so to speak. Not that I'm trying to extract, because no, like I was saying, I'm not going to take the fact that I got $1 and then withdraw it or something like that. I'm going to keep it in here. I want to play more. But it also depends on how many extra Illuvials I have. You just opened a Dark Hollow Dual Left. Dude, I'm jealous. My goodness, that's awesome. That's absolutely incredible. Okay, we're going to queue up. Gazatep, hop in for a second. Atipo once again. The little Atipo that could. Let's see if we can keep the run going. Hector, why you do that to me, bruh? Alright. Free mode time once again. Go for about another half hour here, and we'll still be essentially right on our normal time. It's funny that I'm using, like, the super weak stuff for standard, but then, like, I'm debating on putting an ace into free mode. Yeah, we can give ace a shot. In the past, I mean, there's a lot of traffic right on this left-hand side, at least as of late. Let's hop towards here. Of course, it's all luck. I can sit and analyze positionings on the map for as long as I want. It does not matter. If somebody randomly gets there, or if somebody happens to place it there, we're cooked either way. Wait. Alright, ace is up.
3, 2, 1.
Alright, off of this positioning, I'm not too worried, actually, off the start here. Our ace is going to get a perfect opportunity to third party in onto a TB Ruko, actually. That's a fully evolved one. So, let's get as much damage onto this thing before it actually starts turning towards us. Big AoE for my ace. So yeah, by the time they kill off this Caribou, or this little Caribou, it's going to be at least half HP gone. That Exalted Atipo actually is kind of making me a little worried. Did that heal go to me? I can't even remember. We do make the top 5, so no matter what, we're going to at least get some prizing. But does my ace have enough time to burn down this Atipo before here comes the Ador? It's going to shoot at me. We're going to end up getting third more than likely. The Grand Atipo coming out here from Matango. And now we have a battle of the healers, battle of the empaths. And I'm not even necessarily going to count out this Atipo just yet. Of course, it has a lot of health since it's a fully evolved variant, but you're dealing with that big old burst damage coming on out there from the Ador as well. So Furies, I imagine, is going to clean up house here in just a matter of time. There it goes. Perfect run here for Furies. Going to clean up things nicely. Our ace does get us 12 bones, a valiant effort there as well, but do we survive to fight another day? We only have a coin toss to be able to actually get in back to fight, and nope, that shall be all. So thank you, ace, for your efforts. Did not go empty-handed, your death is not in vain, but wish I would have had another opportunity to play with you once again. Hector's in a funny mood today, I swear to God. Soda in chat. If you had a few advice to give game designers who wanted to make their game ideal for casters, what would you tell them? First and foremost, before we even talk about gameplay mechanics or anything along those lines, build a spectator system into the game no matter what, alongside a custom game lobby. Because there's many times where there's games that I want to see go competitive, but don't have the support for it. Like, say, for example, right now, oddly enough, with, like, Illuvium's biggest competitor, Pokemon. Pokemon just released Pokemon Champions, right? And if you wanted to spectate Pokemon Champions right now, you can if you're at a tournament. If you wanted to go watch a replay for Pokemon Champions and do what I do, or how I got into the game in the first place, or got into casting in the first place, the only reason I was able to do it was because I played my own game of StarCraft, I got the replay, then I commentated over it. You cannot do that right now with, like, say, Pokemon Champions, for example. There is no sharing replays. Heck, sharing replays is something we can do here in Illuvium Deathmatch, right? That's why I was able to cast the jackpot rounds. So that is actually kind of critical. Before we talk about gameplay at all, get a custom game lobby system with spectator slots so that people can actually watch the game live. Allow there to be multiple, and then have replays that can be downloaded. You don't have to keep them forever. I know, say with League of Legends, for example, if you have a replay for League of Legends, I think it expires after a week to save, like, server space. If you have to do that, by all means, go for it. But have something that there's at least a period of time, or if something cool happens, you can go back and cast it. Similar scenario like we see with some of these games that have what I'll call the visual diarrhea. So you have, like, way too many abilities, way too many flashes, way too many things happening at the same time. You need a replay system where you can kind of go back and explain what's happening later. So some of the ones that were really bad for at least me personally, Valorant, before it actually had a replay system, was so tough, because a lot of that game is just build up into everybody dumping their crap on the point at the exact same time and just praying to God you happen to be focusing on the right player that actually gets the kills. Otherwise, a bunch of stuff happens off screen, you don't see it, and it's hard to call the match. Similar thing with Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. At least those games have replays now, but before they didn't. You couldn't rewind and, like, re-look at a fight, for example. So you would be just praying. And again, that's all just before I even talk about anything gameplay related. Standard check. Are we still waiting? We're still waiting, it looks like. Yeah, so the biggest thing is, like, it's not even... It's a mechanic thing rather than just a gameplay specific. Because you can make any game you want as crazy as you want, as long as you actually have the tools in the system. And it would be ideal for casters. Let's get our links into the free mode. So, like, say on my wish list for things for Obelisk Rising. I'll tease you for a second, actually. Let's get into this match here first. Links, did we pick a good spot for you here in this free mode? We're going up against Valente, so this is going to be tough, but not impossible. This is Jub Jub, I think, though, right? That is going to be Jub Jub. It's not Hollow. There we go. Alright, our Lynx is going to be able to clean this up slowly but surely, I do think, and give us a big heal, while also having Omega. Can we snowball this into another kill? I think we didn't this time. It's going to be the TB Ruko coming on through, and a little bit of burst damage. We did not get the kill there, so we are going to end up falling. We do at least get 4th, so we are going to get some prizing, but we do lose the Lynx, so unfortunate to see there. One more brawl to clean this one up. Sir Dexter's Lesser Monkier going to clean things up rather nicely. And I believe at 4th place, I don't have a chance of survival. Oh, wait, we got first blood. The Lynx lives. I even just completely missed that. So there we go. The Lynx dead center of the field. Well, it's not dead anymore. Lynx shall survive. It's the only survivor outside of that Monkier. Hell yeah, we take that. In regards to any major casualties, anytime I see something exalted, like Matango's exalted nature or Tipo, that's definitely a little heartbreaking. Seeing Link's go down. That was actually Rich's TB Ruko. Rich, unfortunately, going to lose that one. 61 TPI, so I mean, it's not too bad, but still. Fully evolved Illuvial going to get killed off. Standards live? Sweet. Thank you, Hector. All right, so the legendary Atipo. Can the run continue? Off the start, we are in a beautiful spot. I've been very lucky so far in these last couple of rounds that I've not been heavily contested, and we have two big clumps of Illuvials. My Atipo going to the left-hand side, going to be peppering away rather nicely. If we can maybe get the kill to prevent that Axon from healing, that would be huge. In fact, the Axon's going to be probably one of the first to fall. First blood does go down, and it is going to be the Atipo. My Atipo could clean up here, actually. We don't have much damage, but we very well could take out the Chuko. It does not have any healing. It's just burst damage. Here comes the monk here, though. Can we get there and get the heal? This is going to be problematic. Can we get the kill? No, we actually fall first. The Chuko is going to live. Incredible run there for Hector. Going to be able to get another position. Pasturus does eventually fall. That was a Fury actually coming out here from Pasturus. That does end up going down. Sergio's Greater Monk here, I imagine, is going to clean up Sota's Caribou, but I mean, this is a tanky fella, and it looks pretty solid. Oh, this is hollow. Of course, it's Sota. It's hollow. It's going to be a very beautiful Illuvial. It's still going to fall. Sergio's Greater Monk here is also hollow. It is going to end up falling, or the Monk here is going to end up winning this one. 60% chance for our run here with the Atipo coming on through. Yeah, my Atipo helped you out a little bit. Enjoy it, why don't you? But no, GG's. And that is going to be the end of the run here for our legendary Atipo. These are two Atipos that did me very well. I cannot complain in the slightest, considering these are probably worth less than a penny on the Illuvivault. They are worth way more to me than just that, and they did a very incredible run. We're going to get 29 skulls coming on through here for us. Hector's Chuko does survive, and it's going to get 42 skulls on the way there. The Fury does live, 52 skulls there. The Caribou for Sota shall continue to run amok. It's not gone just yet. 63 on the way. 76 here for Sergio on the win. Any other major casualties? A couple Valentes or a couple tier zeros do end up falling, but that is the gist of it. I wonder if casual games and casters are compatible. I assume that casters need competition and high stakes for them to make sense. Yes, if you're a bad caster. Because the best thing about the best commentators is being able to make a story out of anything. Just take the tools that are there in front of you, read the situation, and to build the story with it. Stakes do help. Competition and tournaments do help because those naturally build storylines for people who can't build storylines. If that makes sense. It's like tournaments and stakes are basically like trying to get AI to write a novel for you, and then you take some of the points that they've already given you, and then you make a story for it. When the best casters can do this absolutely on the fly with what like is kind of given to them. Like there's a reason, I'm not going to call myself like the best caster or anything along those lines, but let's say with Illuvium Arena, there's a lot of times where I'm hopping in from player to player for, say, House League. And let's say for Sota, like maybe I haven't watched Sota's team compete on the arena since round 6. And we're starting to go into like later rounds. I can still, some of it is making it up, but I can still see what their team looks like and kind of predict the plan of like how they got there. Why is this important? Have we seen this happen in a little while? Like whether it be in Arena House League and ranked, like there's a little bit of research that needs to be done, so to speak. I feel like I'm having a hard time maybe not explaining this myself, but a great caster can help tell the story of anything without needing stakes, if that makes sense. We can we could kind of put it on ourselves. But at the end of the day, there's also a little bit of being careful that you need to do so that you're not just over-embellishing. Because if there's anything that I've actually learned from wrestling, of all things, is that not everything can be exciting. There is a term that I will kind of call exhausting the audience, where if I'm loud and like excited and freaking out over everything, then nothing is special. Nothing is exciting. To get some sort of exciting moment, there needs to be moments where things are kind of dull, run-of-the-mill. So you can't really embellish. You have to pick your opportunities carefully. Like, that's why I'm not like screaming and yelling and getting super loud every single time, if that makes sense. All right. I have faith in the little T-Roo. We ran out of our dear T-pose. Can maybe our little tree kangaroo fill the void here for us? See if we can get another round or two in. Before we close out the stream and whatnot. You see this with sports and whatnot as well, right? Like, let's say, what was it? Last year or 2 years ago, say for Formula One, it was basically a running meme that LOL Max Verstappen wins again, and Red Bull basically won pretty close to every single race for a good portion of the season. And like, as casters, for a little bit, of course, for the sake of marketing and promotion, you have to do it up, but you can't truly freak out. It's like, yes, the same person won again. Big whoop. And you could even see this kind of in the Illuvium Pro League, because remember when early in the Illuvium Pro League when Slicks was winning everything, and you'd see it with Paz, while they're like, oh no, here goes Slicks again, of course he's going to win something. But it made it that much more exciting for long-term storytelling when they did finally lose. And then we naturally had the storyline come on through where, like, after a bug essentially ruined Slicks' chance at a win, they all of a sudden went on a massive lull of winning absolutely nothing and got really close. Well, we'll bounce on that in a second here. We did manage to get first blood onto an Archie, so this worked out rather nicely. The top left did us rather good, and actually, as long as we can take care of this Rye, I have good faith here into this round. There we go. Big shot, big heal. Steal that kill, will ya, Lynx? Beautifully done. It's going to be probably a Lynx on Lynx finish. Can we steal this kill as well? If they get it, it's going to be troublesome. Oh, we sweep this one. Beautifully done. The Lynx stands in the middle. It stands tall. We sweep this one beautifully. First blood plus the win. 20 bones coming our way. Pentakill for that Lynx. That's actually incredible. Beautifully done there, my little Lynx. Lynx is a good first blood unit, absolutely. Just having the little heal's nice, but that big old nuke, it might be single target, but it can definitely come through. First blood and last blood, pentakill, hell yeah. Lynx, let's get you back out there. Standard, still loading up, it looks like. One away. And this one loaded quickly, so let's go into this, and then I'll finish off my story that I was talking about here with in regards to how I do storytelling. All right, this time by, I'm up at the top with Jub. I believe that's their T-Roo. But thankfully, this is probably one of their weaker Illuvials that I've seen. But again, T-Roo is another one of those good first blood units, relying all on single target burst and attack speed. They don't heal, but they can get heals off of kills. We barely squeak out first blood. This Lynx will live again. Can we get one more Omega before going down? We will not. That was very close. We could have snowballed off that rota, and then potentially got the third party on the Caradulo, and that might have snowballed the entire round. So I'm actually really interested on this rota that's going up against the Railu right now in the bottom left-hand corner. That is going to be the rota there from McSign. Where's that attack speed buff? Can they get into the fight? No, the Railu will shut them down. And I'd argue still the Railu is in a pretty decent spot. They're going to third party in onto this turtle. And yes, that Archie does have a little bit of damage, has some AoE. But I think the amount of pain that this Railu can dish out could be more. This is actually going to be much closer than I was expecting. Railu, can you pull off the upset? I think it just might, with just a sliver of HP. Deathmatch Daddy and the Railu. I usually give Railu hell for being rather low on the tier list. Well, they just told me to shut the heck up and look at my victory while your Lynx lies motionless on the left-hand side, where I then say, ha, I got first blood, so I'm still in the game. But, geesh. What a run there for Deathmatch Daddy and their Railu. What was the TPI onto that Railu? That was... Axe, you know what to do. There you go, 67 TPI coming out there on that one. The Archie there from A to the G did a pretty solid job, and it does survive alongside the greater Apon of Tapiao. And thankfully, my Lynx does live another day. That was a good run. But, like I was saying before, like, there has to be some sort of lull before you, like, truly get excited about something. And then just thinking about the long-term implications. We learned through Paz that prior to Illuvium Pro League, Slicks basically won everything. And then going into Illuvium Pro League, they won like 1 or 2 events, I think, in a row. And it was like, okay, he wins again. Okay, that's fantastic. That's great. But then that moment when they do finally lose, especially to lose in the fashion that they did, where it was an incredible bug, oddly enough. Not just the fact that it was a Monarch, but it was literally a game-breaking bug, where the Pyrofield from the Monarch did an absurd amount of damage. It literally, like, 100 to 0'd a Rip Lance in 2 seconds. I mean, I've seen some strong Pyrofields, but never one that strong. So for them to lose like that, and then for Slicks to go on a huge losing streak. The moment where Slicks gets redemption becomes an absolutely incredible moment, right? And we saw they almost pulled it off in the Illuvium Pro League. They got like second or something along those lines, right? And then to see it in the Motorverse Cup, where they then finally won again, it was that big lull after like a state of dominance. They had the moments with their loss, then a big lull of nothing, and then another spike, so to speak. But you have to do that with as many little storylines as you possibly can. And that's just one of them. I know there's many players out there that have like big stories, and I kind of like reference them through House League as much as possible. Like say with Texan, if I recall correctly, when they were like right on the outskirts of potentially even making the finals, I believe, or like the final days of IPL, but were just barely like missed and whatnot. And then all of a sudden they come back. I see them for the first time in Illuvium Arena House League, and I think, okay, yeah, they're a good player and whatnot. And not only have they upgraded their collection significantly, but on their debut, they win a House League. It's just as much about research onto some of the moments that may not seem huge. And then getting those payoffs, so to speak, with your storylines afterwards. Those are how memories are made. And that is, honestly, can be above any paycheck. And that's just it, yeah, Texan was very often in the finals before the IPL. That might have been a bit before my time before following it. So I know I had to rely a lot on Paz for that info. Yeah, it was very often in the finals before it. Then they were so close during the IPL, but just barely missed. And they show up in House League and absolutely crush. It's also why for House League, why I keep a tally of how many times has somebody won. How Robert Tacho is the most winningest player in Caribou Cup. How Sota, I think you're up there, if not the leader, for Monarch Masters right now. I'd have to reference my sheet, but I think you're definitely up there, if not the leader. Still waiting on standard. Got a few more moments here. Oh, I was digging. I was trying so hard to find tournament information about events prior to IPL. Because my time with following competitive Illuvium started when the No Limits Leviathan tournament happened. It was last August. That's where I first started understanding that. Otherwise, all I knew was Dreamers Esports, which is a more casual competitive, so to speak. Like, it is a tournament, there is prizing on the lines, but it's not a major, so to speak. Like, I was looking for data, I just could not find it for the life of me. And, like, with everything with the teams, like, say, like, hype. I know, like, there's a lot of hype players. Why is there a lot of hype players? What are they doing that other teams aren't? I never had that information. Phantom. Why do I never see Phantom other than Paz and then Carl? Like, for the most part. Maybe I'll see one sneak in there every once in a while. Like, Bond, we see a handful of those, but where are they from? Monarchs, where did Monarchs go? There's a lot of, like, team-based stuff that I could have known that I didn't, and all I had was strictly what I saw on the screen in front of me. When there is a sea of hype, and then Zico Perico, like, why is there so many hype? Do they have practices? Like, do they have their own, like, dedicated, like, competitive efforts, or not sharing Illuvials, but, like, catching Illuvials on the basis of a team? Like, there's a lot that I can go with that I just didn't know. There's so much interesting things that you can dig into about every single game. To the point where, like, casual, competitive, tournaments, non-tournaments, as long as you have the spectator system, as long as you have replays, you can save the stories and tell the stories of any game. That's why on my wish list for Obelisk Rising, when we have events that have, say, your Mythic Plus dungeons, I want those replays. I'd love to see replays for your dungeon runs. Even though it's not traditionally, like, dungeons aren't traditionally a competitive game mode, if we're going to use it as our competitive game mode, I hope we have the tools available. My poor Lynx is going to get absolutely massacred here in just a second's time. That's not even funny. That is going to be a Malura just absolutely crapping on my face. Who the heck was that? That was Spartak hype going to come in through and do a ton of damage, but can the Malura hang on a little bit longer? It's going to get fleeched on. The Greater Water Fleece coming on through. Now able to third party, but here comes an Ebb from Patch Tours coming on him from the right-hand side. Grocko, Fleece, and then there's an Ebb to try and break this up. The Ebb, I believe. No, that was the Grocko that got it. The Tier 0 GOAT, Harry, and their Exalted Earth Grocko up against the Ebb. The Ebb, of course, big heal, but look for the stun. And there we go. The Tier 0's got to take it. Harry and the Exalted Earth Grocko clutching things up beautifully. My Lynx had no chance. As soon as I saw I got parked up against Malura, yeah, you know, that's not going to end well there for that Lynx, so it will end up falling at 0% chance of revival. Thank you, Lynx. Sorry to lose you so soon. We'll end up falling here, and we do have a little bit of hype lore, it looks like here. Called ACG back in 2022. Most of the best players were there, then the leadership changed as well as the name. And in fact, it was Sota that suggested hype. Because we wanted to keep our edge and attract, and talent attracts talent. That's 100% correct. Everybody wants to be on the team that's winning. Slicks joined hype because he was a friend of Patat and attracted even more players. Well, no, 100%. That makes complete sense. Yeah, you're completely correct. Like, even in fandoms, like, people are root for the team that wins more often, right? It's just natural. And then you want to be a part of the team that naturally wins more often. Trust me, I'm an outlier who's a sucker that goes for the Toronto Maple Leafs for the NHL. I'm used to being called a masochist of some sort because I'm just getting destroyed over and over. I'd much rather be a fan of, I don't know, Hurricanes or something, one of these teams that are actually winning. But majority of the time, especially for casual fan bases or players that are just getting into competitive, they'll want to join or root for a team that's already doing well. Do we get a standard mode? Potentially one more standard mode before we close up tonight. I've got a T-Roo ready for this one. I would love to be able to send them onto the battlefield prior to closing off the stream here.
3, 2, 1.
See if we get lucky there. Yeah, I'm surprised how much has kind of turned into a silent lore day, but I thank you for sticking with me.
3, 2, 1.
Underdog upsets definitely make great stories, 100%. Absolutely. Oh. I'm basically out of Illuvials here, so how many more do I have? Do I just have 3 more? Fire 1 more into the free mode. See how our little Caradulo can do. I'm not sure if we're going to get this standard game underway in time, so unlucky if we don't. Curious to know your kind of story tier list. I would need to think of a handful of like topics off the top of my head. Let me think about it here while we take a look at this battle here with my Caradulo. Who the hell threw a Sinolf into freaking free mode? Fury is coming on through with a very... Oh, it's a 14 TPI, I guess. Like, fair enough. But you see a Sinolf in free mode, you kind of freak out a little bit. My Carablue's in an okay spot to clean up that Sinolf changed targets, which means we're actually going to be in a great spot. That Sinolf might actually go down very early here. The Gorilla took it out, so that's actually kind of frustrating if I'm Furies. The fact that my Sinolf changed targets on me costed it the chance at getting some heals, and now my Carablue is absolutely capitalizing on that error. We can get the jump onto one of these members with that Gorilla going down. We aren't going to get that kill, but we still have so much HP. We might end up with a W at the end of this one, everybody. Let's see. Just have to take out the ace. There it goes. The little Carablue that could. Beautifully done there for our little Carablue picking the win that time. Bye. What? Who else passed on here in this one? Any big one? Oh yeah, that poor Sinolf got absolutely murked. Yes, it is just a 14 TPI, but I'm furious. I'm frustrated with that performance. Should have set the Rich, that Seafer is getting first blood, keeping it in the game as well. Let's see. How far away are we from getting a pack? We are like right there, eh? Standard mode check, not going to happen, but I'm actually kind of over time here, so I'll have to close things out here in a second, actually. I don't want to go too far over time, so unfortunately I do have to close things out, but that was pretty enjoyable. I had a lot of fun doing Illuvium Deathmatch. It's been a while since we had the opportunity to do so. I'm thankful that skulls-wise, we came out on top. Like, we're on a positive note. That's pretty incredible. Normally that does not happen. And I'm very, very lucky in that regard. So I do, again, have to give out the warning and give out the disclaimer, of course, that if you're looking to compete in Illuvium Deathmatch, you saw what we're doing here and saw it was a lot of fun. Please do remember that this game is a game of chance. You are gambling with the lives of your Illuvials. These are Illuvials that you can be using in Illuvium Arena, saving for Obelisk Rising, and just keeping them on your team for long term. And of course, there is also a bit of a monetary value attached to these Illuvials as well. So please remember, if you're going to be playing this game, never play with something that you are emotionally attached to. Anything sentimental, do not use it in Deathmatch. You very well could and probably will lose it. The odds are not in your favor here. You do not want to lose it at all. Please play responsibly as well. Don't go overboard and there are plenty of resources out there, of course, to help you if you feel like if gambling's getting the better of you. So I swear to God, every single time I make a comment about that, we're like mortgaging the house or something along those lines. But no, please play responsibly. Yeah, the idea of like a story tier list of sorts. If I don't have the full on one, but at least of the two here that you're seeing, like Champion Redemption is easily an S tier. Like we even saw this with Formula One recently. It wasn't necessarily a championship per se, but with say Lewis Hamilton. For the longest time, Lewis Hamilton went on an absolute dominating spree in the early 2000s or in the like 2010s as well. Was everybody's straight up sick of him because he's winning so much. But then Max Verstappen, for example, kind of took the fire from him, so to speak. Max went on a tear, and then Lewis was having a hard time just winning anything for a little bit. Goes over to Ferrari, has a miserable first year with Ferrari, and then I think it was just a week or two ago we saw Lewis Hamilton actually win a race under Ferrari, the first one in a very, very long time, and that's like a massive redemption arc. Like stories like that are absolutely S tier. I love seeing the champion come back. They've been knocked down a peg, but then they come back fighting. They don't give up. Champion Redemption is absolutely S tier. Now, I personally am numb to underdog because unfortunately, I saw this way too often when commentating tournaments with fighting games. It would be basically Smash. It was actually kind of rough because we would see the top players every single time, and we hardly would ever see underdog upsets. But with traditional fighting games, whether I'm talking Street Fighter or whether I'm talking Tekken, heck, even Guilty Gear, I would see very often where these top players, like coming in thinking that they're hot stuff, all of a sudden get upset by some random nobody. What I like more to amplify the underdog, though, because if an underdog beats the top player, but they're both playing top tier characters, that's numb to me big time. What I lose my mind over is when somebody, like lose my mind in a good way and get excited for, is when somebody upsets a top player with a character or team that is seen as bad or seen as underpowered. So, say for Smash Ultimate, for example, when I see somebody playing Snake and everybody and their mother is playing Snake, and they go up against an Isabelle, and Isabelle's just seen as garbage, but the Isabelle wins versus the Snake, I pop right out or pop right off. I love that so much because the low tier gets the better of the high tier character and player in that regards. And then a lot of times there becomes a lot of notoriety towards that low tier player shortly after. And I see the same thing kind of with Illuvium as well. Like if I see a newcomer come on through, or not a newcomer, but somebody who doesn't win all the time or very often or at all, if I see them win up against a someone who wins all the time, I'm still extremely excited for them, do not get me wrong. But if the way that they won was because they got Inferno Behemoth and the other player didn't, I mean, that's not just about the player, but that's also the game. They got the most powerful thing, yada, yada, yada. However, when I see something like what Texan did, where they took the team that they were playing with in their debut for Arena House League, and yes, there was some Behemoth involvement, but it was like an air-based, like completely creative, different team. That's when I lose it. That's when I love, because I love seeing players get creative, break the mold, break the meta, and that was kind of the idea behind yesterday's stream, actually, where it was, how can I use Monarch, but not in Inferno Arcanite? I love when I see other players do that, so I want to try and do it myself. Like I'm betting 43 to win 69 with the chance given of there being losing the Alluvial. Yeah, in regards to Deathmatch in particular, like it's weird that you are like the better Alluvials you put into standard, it does feel like you get punished. If you're in a lobby where it's really, really stacked and everybody are or is putting in like really strong alluvials, then okay, fantastic. You're having a great time with a great payout. But there are going to be, say, players like me, where you're dropping in your very high level alluvial or high TPI rather alluvial, high power, and then I show up within a TPO and get a lucky spawn, and I'm the one getting the rewards. I can definitely understand the frustration behind that 100% there, Mothbuck Monster. Definitely agree. The system definitely rewards players like myself who are just trying to cause little upsets compared to those that have the big guns. But in instances where you do have, say, your powerful alluvial versus a bunch of weak ones, you then in theory are getting yourself a better chance at actually winning the jackpot itself, right? You have the edge, and as long as you aren't getting completely swarmed on, in theory, your alluvial can make those upsets. And while every single win might be a smaller payout, and the initial like loss is in theory greater, yeah, I definitely agree. Like on the everyday round where you're betting 43 cents to win 69 cents, that is pretty crazy. But on those games, you have a much higher chance of winning, which in turn gives you jackpot odds, right? I mean, I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm just like, I understand where the frustration is on a match per match basis, 100%. Yeah, I like the underdog player using an underdog strat and character to show off how skillful they are with that specific niche, if that makes sense. And heck yeah, cheeses are absolutely a thing too. I came from StarCraft. I wasn't a cheesy player often. I had my moments. But cheeses were absolutely something you can do for those kind of one tricks kind of scenarios. And that's why I like here with Illuvium that when we're in for like big money events, it's always at the minimum a best of three. So you can't just one trick your way into a victory, so to speak. You have to be consistent. And we see this with other esports as well. Like once we're into the big money, that's when it stops being best of one. That's when best of threes, best of five start happening in. It makes it really difficult for cheesy players or those with underdog strategies or underpowered strategies or characters to truly pop off. So that's why it's just that much more epic when they do, if that makes sense. With that being said, we shall be closing things out here for tonight. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in and listening to me while I know there was a lot of silent lore throughout Deathmatch as well while we were waiting for matches. I thank you for talking to me about it. Esports as a whole is something that I love. It's something I've been doing for over a decade at this point, and gladly talk about it as much as possible while we're doing the Illuvium side of things here as well. And of course, the streams are not ending here for this week. We're just getting started, of course. This week in Illuvium, news around the Illuvium universe going to be happening tomorrow. And then as long as I get the skulls for the Illuvium Arena House League rewards, we will do the pack openings tomorrow as well for last Friday's events in Illuvium Arena House League. Hopefully they'll be coming on through and we'll be able to do that at the very tail end. As always, go through all the news. Then Thursday is my arena tryhard day. It might not always be that way, but for tomorrow, or for Thursday rather, I want to try and get into the top 20, at least as close as I can. I do not play anywhere near enough compared to a lot of these other players, so I'll gladly accept every step up the ladder that I possibly can, pushing towards that top 20. Then Friday, of course, Illuvium Arena House League. And this one is going to be special, of course, as well, because this is a one-off for ownership off. So any players out there that think that they're a fantastic Illuvium player, but don't oftentimes compete because they're worried about the strength of their collection. They don't have the levels. They don't have the TPI. No matter how perfect they play, they're just going to lose anyways. Well, this week is your week to shine. We're going to get all the registrations coming on through. line you up, and we're going to do this basically tournament style with, say, top 2 or top 4. It depends on how many players we have. We'll get you all into a mock tournament of sorts. The top players moving on to the finals. Everybody who makes the finals will at least get a little something, but obviously you want to push as high as you possibly can. So everybody, also keep in mind if you're signing up that this is going to be at least 2 games, not just the 1. If you want to sign up for that, in the description of this video is the link to the registration page. I think we have a handful of yous here already. I've got 9 of yous here already, so it's already a fantastic start. It's only Tuesday, so I'm really looking forward to this Friday to see what happens once the playing field is actually even. Can our usual winners keep holding their own? There's a lot of people, like say Sota, for example, here in the chat, who doesn't matter whether it's ownership on or ownership up. They've been at the top before. Will they continue there, or can we potentially get an upset from maybe people who are in our Caribou Cup, people that we see as newcomers, all of a sudden maybe find themselves at the top steps of the podium? We'll have to see going on through there, but it's always an exciting time all around. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Sub to the channel if you've not done so already, because we're going to hang out again. I'd love to hang out again with you tomorrow. I don't want to sound too demanding, why don't we? Yeah, we're going to hang out again tomorrow. No. Would love to hang out again with you sometime soon while we continue to push this Illuvium-only content style as far as we can. As long as I'm having fun, we'll keep doing it. So until then, till tomorrow, I'll see you then. Have a fantastic night, everybody.
Woke up tired, didn't sleep all night. Mine's still running like a traffic light. Red for stop and green for go. I'm stuck somewhere in between them both. Brushed my teeth and checked my phone. Everyone looks like they've already grown. Smiling faces, perfect lives. I'm here asking, what am I doing with mine? I don't have a plan, I just have today. Trying not to throw the little good away. Heart's still heavy, but I'm still here. Taking one small step through the fear. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on